How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to On the Ball. And after a long, hard 2 weeks of international football, it is the Premier League returning, and it is Predict the Prem. Me v Sim go head-to-head in predicting Premier League outcomes. As you can see above Sim's head, it's 64 points to Sim, 67 points to me. And you know the way the scoring works by now. It's 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result. And the star man, once you pick that man, you can't pick them again for the rest of the season. 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. Let's get into the weekend's action. And actually, it's really hard to predict the games this weekend. Some good big ties going on this weekend. But we're going to start off with a big London derby at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Sim has gone for a big scoreline, 4-1 to Spurs.
Yeah, I think London derby, I know we don't have a great record in London derbies under Ange, and that's something he needs to improve. But I've watched West Ham in their big games this season when they've played opposition who like to dominate. They give up a lot of control of the game and they sit off the opposition a lot. And I think they do that against Tottenham. They could struggle a bit. I saw them, they played at home to Chelsea, lost 3-0. They lost convincingly against Man City, I think it was, and Villa. They were just sitting off them way too much. And if they do that against Tottenham, they could struggle, albeit they do come into this game off the back of a good morale-boosting win against Ipswich. So whether their tails will be up a bit remains to be seen. But I just got a feeling that Tottenham will want a reaction to that Brighton second half, and they'll want to come flying out of the traps in this one. And I just got a feeling they're going to overwhelm West Ham. So I know West Ham got good players, but I'm going to go for a 4-1 win to Spurs.
Yeah, I hope you're right. But I mean, when you're looking at the way they play, I think it's hard to analyse because like when West Ham, when they play Tottenham, they can be coming into it in the most disastrous form, and then they just turn into prime Barcelona playing against Tottenham. I do think we should have the upper hand, particularly at home. We just need to get that win over our belt in a London derby. Like we said, we haven't beaten West Ham, Arsenal or Chelsea under Ange Postecoglou, and I think it's going to be a really tight game. I think both teams are going to have their chances, but I think Spurs are just about going to edge it with a 2-1 victory, and I think quality will just about shine through. And it's good for Spurs. They're going to have a lot of attacking options as well, with the return of Sonny, with the return of Richarlison, and obviously Brennan Johnson on firing form as well. So, I'm going to go 2-1. Sim has gone for 4-1. We move on to Fulham against Aston Villa. Both of us going for draws here. Sim's gone for a Desmond. I've gone for 1-1. And, Fulham are always a tough nut to crack at Craven Cottage. Villa, on the other hand, I kind of feel like both these teams are just going to cancel each other out a little bit. I think it's going to be a really tough game for both sides. And these are just kind of the games that Villa sometimes drop points in on the back of a couple of poor draws for Villa this season so far, like the Ipswich game. I feel like this one's got a bit of a similar vibe. Fulham have got a lot of quality to them, and Raul Jimenez is really stepping up for the team, so I can see 1-1.
Yeah, I've gone for 2-2. I think Villa could be quite open in these games, and sometimes away from home, they give way too much encouragement to the opposition, albeit they're always a threat with their attacking options. I just feel like sometimes they can be a bit too open. As you say, the Ipswich game is a great example where they drew 2-2, and Ipswich had a lot of chances in that game. Fulham have been in really impressive form this season, especially at home. They look really, really dangerous. So probably unlucky, you would argue, to lose to Man City in their last game 3-2. And I think at home against a good Villa side, they're going to be well up for it. Adama Traore is in great form. Jimenez is flying at the moment. So I see them really hurting Villa. I know Villa got good attacking players. You can't discount that as well. So I've gone for a 2-2 draw here.
Ipswich against Everton. Sim has gone for a 2-1 Ipswich win.
Yeah, I think at home, I've really liked what Ipswich have done over this season. I know I've been unlucky maybe not to get any wins. I think I've haven't won yet this season. They got 4 draws, and they did lose their last game, unfortunately. But I think they're playing quite well. They were probably too open and bullied a bit too much in that West Ham game, and you could argue Everton could do that. But they're at home against an Everton side who have struggled at times this season, albeit they did get that win that they fairly recently. I just feel like Ipswich at home, I really like what Leif Davis is doing. I like what Liam Delap's about. I think Everton are going to be a tough nut to crack, but I just feel like the confidence for Ipswich is going to get them over the line here. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Ipswich.
Yeah, I've gone for another draw here, 1-1. I think it could be a good game of football. I think Ipswich will probably try and control the possession and try and hit Everton. But I think Everton will put in a dogged display. I feel like their performances have been getting better throughout the season. And, you know what Everton are like. They're just going to sit deep. They're going to try and stifle Ipswich, and I think they will do that for the most part. And I think both these teams will find moments of joy, but I don't think we'll be able to find a winner. Everton yet to win away from home this season. Ipswich yet to win at all this season, and I think it's going to be adding on to the long list of draws for Ipswich, and Everton love a draw as well. So I think this game's got a draw written all over it, to be honest. But we move on. Old Trafford, Manchester United against Brentford. I've gone for yet another draw. I've gone for a Desmond. Man United. I'm just seeing nothing in Man United at the moment. I really am. I think Ten Hag somehow just about saved his job with a draw out in Porto and a draw against Aston Villa, and I think another draw here, but I think this one will probably be considered more of a negative one than a positive one than maybe the previous two results. Brentford are impressing a lot of people at the moment, with Brian and Mbeumo seeming to score in the first minute of every game at the moment, and I think it might come again this game. But Man United at Old Trafford will probably fight back with the quality that they do have, because they do have some good players in the front line and they can get a goal or two, but I think Brentford are going to catch them out a couple of times, so I've gone for 2-2.
Yeah, I've gone for an unconvincing 2-1 win for Man United. I think it'll be a struggle. I think Brentford are going to have chances, especially from set pieces and counter-attacks. I wouldn't be surprised, as you say, if they take the lead in the first minute again, because they've just found a habit of doing that 4 games in a row, taking early leads. But as well, they do usually get pegged back. And I think Man United, back off those 2 draws, as much as they weren't the best results, it did kind of stop the rot of those defeats, and the defeat to Spurs, and it kind of stopped that. And I just feel like with the players they got at their disposal, they're just going to get over the line. They've got a bit of solidity about them now with those 2 draws, albeit they did concede 3 to Porto. But I think the Brentford, I looked at how they played against Spurs. They were quite open, actually, surprisingly open, looked to play out the back. And if they do that against Man United, I can see the Man United players just catching them out with Rashford and Bruno and them lot. So I think they'll get a bit lucky with maybe some missed chances for Brentford, but I think they'll get over the line 2-1.
Yeah, I feel like as well, like Brentford on the back of that victory against Wolves, scoring 5 goals, I think they might have their tails up a little bit here as well. So confidence might play a key part in this game. But again, I have gone for another draw. Newcastle against Brighton, which is a very
very exciting.
Very, very interesting game at St James's Park. Sim's gone for the draw this time.
Yeah, 2-2. I think it could be an open game. I don't know if Isaac is fit for this game or not, but whether they have him or not, I think if they play Gordon up front, he could be the kind of striker that could be perfect for this game. We know how Brighton play, high line. They like to play with risk. They like to commit players. And I think Newcastle will see that coming. But I also think Newcastle at the moment, they're not playing at their best. They're not at their most aggressive. They're not getting as tight to the opposition they need to. And if you let this Brighton side play, they can hurt even the best teams. And I think they'll do that in this game. So I can see it being an open game, chances at both ends. So I couldn't separate it. So I've gone for a 2-2 draw here.
Yeah, Newcastle on the back of 2 draws against Everton, which was really unconvincing, and with that missed penalty of Gordon as well, and against Manchester City, which wasn't exactly unconvincing when you get a draw against Man City. Brighton, on the other hand, were going through a bit of a run of bad form in terms of results, but they really responded in the most perfect way in that second half against Tottenham, scoring 3 goals, overturning a 2-0 deficit. And I feel like that is going to really galvanise them, and they're going to smell blood in this game against a Newcastle side, which, they've been getting pretty consistent results throughout the season, but I just don't think their performances have been as convincing as the results suggest. Brighton have got a few players coming back this weekend as well. I think Van Hecker is a big one for Brighton with the high line that they play. Definitely more adept at playing it than the centre-backs that they do have. So I feel like Brighton are really going to come into this full of confidence, and they're going to take the victory. So 2-1 to Brighton. Next up is Southampton against Leicester. I have gone for 2-1 to Leicester in this game, and I think Leicester are the only team out of the relegated or the promoted sides that have actually won a game this season. I wouldn't say I've been overly impressed with them, but I think they've been going about their business quite quietly and fairly well in terms of when you're comparing them to the promoted sides. I still think from a performance level, probably Ipswich have been the best, but Leicester are the ones that are seeming to get more points on the board at the moment. And Southampton have probably been the worst team in the league so far. Yes, they do play a little bit of pretty football sometimes, but they're just way too open at the back. And I think players like Vardy and Buonanotte can really hurt this Southampton side, and I expect them to get 3 points. So I've gone to 2-1.
Yeah, well, I've gone for a 1-1 draw. Leicester did get their first win of the season against Bournemouth last time out. Good 1-0 win, albeit if you watch that game, Bournemouth had a lot of chances and probably unlucky not to get something out of the game. I feel like Southampton, they've stuck to their principles this season, playing pretty football without getting any reward, not having the quality in either box, you could probably argue, to reap the benefits out of their good football. But I think playing against this Leicester side, I can see them getting a bit more joy here. And I do think Leicester, their quality up front is probably not as good as some of the other sides that Southampton have faced. I don't think Leicester will exploit them as much as some of the other sides will. And I do see Southampton getting a bit more joy. But do I see them getting enough joy to get the win? Are they going to be good enough? Will Leicester find moments? Well, I do think they'll do that with players like Vardy. So as much as I do see Southampton dominating and probably missing chances, I do see Leicester nicking a point here, so 1-1.
All right, we move on to Bournemouth against Arsenal at the Vitality. We've both gone for the exact same scoreline here in 1-0 to Arsenal. It's just a classic Arsenal away performance and result. It will be Arsenal will be patient. They'll wait for their moments. They'll find one and they'll win 1-0.
Yeah, I can see Bournemouth being very direct. I can see them going at Arsenal because I think Bournemouth, they only, similar to other teams, like they like to play a direct style of football, very quick, aggressive, go for the transitions, and I think Arsenal will be prepared for that. I do see this being fairly similar to a lot of Arsenal games. I don't know if Bournemouth will dominate or not, but I can see Bournemouth, having a lot of ball in dangerous positions, and they'll cause problems. But I think the Arsenal rearguard at the moment is just so strong. It's going to be difficult for them to break it down. And then I do see Arsenal going up the other end and getting a goal from somewhere, whether it be a set piece or a Trossard goal or Saka doing something. They'll get goals. So I've gone for a 1-0 into Arsenal.
Wolves against Manchester City up next. I think it's bottom of the league against, I don't know if Man City still top. No, they're not top, they're second. But
Liverpool top, yeah.
Who are you going? I mean, you're going for 3-0, but why?
3-0. Yeah, I just think even without Rodri, I think the way Wolves have started the season has got to be a bit concerning. They did give Liverpool a good game, but I think Man City are a step above Liverpool, even at the moment. Liverpool haven't really played maybe some of the better teams, and I think Man City at the moment, yes, they'll have struggles this season. I think they will suffer without Rodri, but I think in this game won't be one of those. I just feel like Wolves at the moment, they're struggling to find how to attack teams, and Cunha's bearing the brunt of a lot of their offense, and when he's kept quiet, they don't really seem to have much anywhere else to turn. I know Aïnouri's doing some good stuff as well, but I just think Man City will turn up, they'll play their football, and I think it'll be a resounding win. So I've gone for a 3-0 win.
Yeah, I've gone for 3-1. I think this game has got both teams to score written all over it. I think Man City, they can't seem to keep a clean sheet for love nor money at the moment. And Wolves, on the other hand, even though they're losing most games, they do find a goal in the majority of those games as well. So I feel like Wolves, particularly at home at Molineux, they will find a goal, but you can't look past Man City to win the game. And I think it'll be quite convincing by the end of it. But I can't see both teams not scoring this game. So I've gone for 3-1 to Manchester City. Big game at Anfield, Liverpool against Chelsea. Both of us gone for Liverpool wins. I have gone for 2-1. I think it'll be a really interesting game of football. Two managers, I don't think they've ever gone head-to-head to each other. Arne Slot and Maresca, both getting the plaudits that they deserve so far this season. I think it's going to be a really interesting tactical battle. But I think at Anfield, maybe more with the settle side, I think Liverpool will just about do enough to win the game at 2-1.
Yeah, I see a really open game. I think it's a game where we're going to learn a lot from both teams, because Liverpool, great start to the season, but who have they really beaten? Maybe not any of the top sides. Chelsea play brilliant football. I think Maresca has really got this team purring at the moment, but again, in terms of teams they've beaten, they beat Brighton, who are a good team, but when it comes to some of the top sides going to Anfield, do they have that in them at the moment to go away at Anfield and actually get a win? Are they still too open? I see both sides being really open here. I see some really, really big chances being created. I see quality at both ends making the difference, but I just think home advantage is just going to tip it in Liverpool's favour. So gone for a really entertaining 3-2 win for Liverpool.
And last but not least, Monday night football at the City Ground. It is Nottingham Forest against Crystal Palace. Sim has gone for 1-0 to Palace here.
I have, and I think it's going to be a really tight game. Forest are not the same team at home as they've been away from home. I think they do kind of prefer playing away from home the way they're set up. Palace are just desperate for points now. I think it's getting to the stage where they haven't won any game in their first 7. As much as I like Glasner and what he's done, with some of the players they got at their disposal, they need to be doing better than what they're doing. And I saw
a report saying they're looking at Moyes.
I don't think that would be the right decision, but I think Palace have to start turning a corner at some point. I think this could be a really good opportunity. Go away at Forest, dig deep, dig out a result, get a goal, get a clean sheet, and come away with the 3 points. So I've gone for them to get a big result here on Monday night, 1-0.
Yeah, I just can't see it. Maybe if this game was at Selhurst Park, I would have agreed with you, but I've gone for a 2-1 win to Nottingham Forest. Forest are winless in 3, but actually 2 credible draws in there against Chelsea and against Brighton. The other one was a loss against Fulham. I think Forest, as much as they haven't been getting wins in the last 3 games, they've still been playing actually really well. So I think that they're going to take the confidence in this game. They're going to be hard to beat. And I'm just not seeing much in Crystal Palace's play at the moment. Yeah, I'm going with the form book. So I'm going for 2-1 to Nottingham Forest. And we move on to the start men. Sim's gone for Anthony Gordon.
Anthony Gordon at home to Brighton. I think the space is going to be there for him. He's going to be licking his lips in this kind of game. And if they can't get Gordon involved in this game, I don't know how they're going to get goals. So I do see him getting very involved. I think it's perfect for him. So I've gone for Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, I've gone for Buonanotte of Leicester, albeit he is in a Brighton kit there. But I've gone for Buonanotte of Leicester. He's playing against the worst defensive side in the Premier League so far this season. I think it's going to be open for him. He's going to find the gaps. He seems to get a goal whenever Leicester are on the attack, and whenever Leicester are scoring goals, he seems to be in the thick of the action, and even when they're just creating chances as well. So I think he's their most dangerous man. Maybe it'll just be an assist, but there could very well be a goal in there for him as well. So I have gone for Buonanotte. Let me know in the comment section below your predictions for this weekend. Who is your star man as well, and who do you think will come out on top? Thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you next time.